Is Joey Wheeler a fraud? In his very first on-screen duel, he pulls off the major upset over the veteran Mai thanks to his luck with time roulette, and in his very last on-screen duel, he falls to Siegfried because his luck with compensation mediation runs out. In between are a whole stack of duels filled with dice rolls and coin flips that certainly beg the question, is Joey only winning these duels because of a lucky streak that even his friends poke fun at him for? Does that explain why when his luck finally does run out, he loses? Or is the underdog from Brooklyn far more skilled than most give him credit for? Before we get started, potato, phone, flower, knife, wind, happy, door, sofa. I took a look at every instance in which Joey was involved in a luck-based effect and assessed, well okay, what actually was his chance of succeeding in those moments? For example, when he uses Graceful Dice versus Merrick, he only needed a 2 or higher, giving him an 83% chance of success, whereas something like Roulette Spider versus Esperoba had a 40% chance to succeed. In the few instances where Joey used Skull and Graceful Dice in a single battle, that was counted as one instance, with the chance of success calculated based on the number of roll combinations that would have allowed for his monster to tie the monster it was battling or defeat it. This list also included when others used luck effects against him, like Yugi's Magical Hat and Grandpa's Legendary Gambler, because the point of this exercise is to show if Joey really lucks out as often as you think when contextualized against his chance of success. Joey is involved in 40 luck effects, 29 of them go in his favor, so on paper, it looks like he's lucking out way more often. But now let's get nerdy. If we take the average chance of success he has with each effect, we actually get an almost neat 50-50. Joey's average chance of success in these 40 instances is 50.65%, so a hair more likely to succeed than fail. Now let's do the math. If the average rate of success is 50.65% and he has 40 instances to measure, what were the odds that he would succeed 29 or more times? We end up with a binomial probability problem that can be written down as such. For you visual learners, we can also chart his chances on a distribution graph which shows the likelihood of each number of successes out of 40 chances. Given that his average chance of success is close to 50-50, we would expect that 20 successes is the most likely, which is why that bar in the middle is the tallest. We would then expect 19 and 21 to be the next most likely, and so on. Joey, however, is in that wee little highlighted portion on the right of the chart which illustrates the likelihood of succeeding 29 or more out of 40 times. But not all luck is created equal. For example, if you win the lottery, but the lottery is for 1,000,000 spiders, your luck didn't pay off. Unless it did, in which case, get help. In Yu-Gi-Oh terms, just because Joey succeeds in a game of chance doesn't mean his luck paid off. The most notorious example of this is versus Yugi, where Time Wizard does age Dark Magician, but makes him even more formidable and causes Joey to lose the duel. There are plenty of instances like this when Joey succeeded in the game of chance, but it didn't pay off because the effect was useless, his opponent had a counter ready, or in the case of Johnson, cheated by changing the result. So what happens if we look at the probability that Joey's luck pays off? In this example, the math comes out super neat again, where in those 40 instances, Joey's luck pays off 20 times, meaning that in the other 20 times, he either failed on the chance effect, or he succeeded but it had no effect, so his payoff percentage is a dead even 50-50. If we crunch the numbers on this distribution, Joey has a 59.5% chance of succeeding at least 20 times out of 40. Again, for visual learners, he's in the highlighted portion of the graph, which represents more likely than less likely. To recap the numbers, Joey is involved in 40 games of chance. His average probability of success in each game is 50.65%. He wins 29 of them outright, he only gets the payoff for them in 20. Which is to say that while Joey's overall luck is inordinately high, his luck only pays off about the same as an average person's luck, and actually a touch less lucky. Joey's luck is not paying off for him any more than what you and I should expect if we played a game of chance 40 times. So if someone says Joey is lucky, they are dead on. But if someone says Joey only wins because of luck, or in other words, his luck pays off with wins, you throw this analysis at them. And if some kid in the back of the classroom asks the math teacher, when are we ever gonna use this? You tell them in a YouTube video about Joey Wheeler from Yu-Gi-Oh! The reason I even began looking into this video was because of a little booger of a card that seems to bail out Joey all the time in Duelist Kingdom, Time Wizard. Throughout the rest of the anime, Joey only successfully resolves Time Roulette twice more, and even in those instances, it doesn't pan out as Jinzo can't corrode, and Kaiba has the power to transcend time itself. In the manga, he doesn't use Time Wizard at all in Battle City. This got me looking into Joey's use of luck and how often he demonstrated skill. I went through duel by duel and notated any time Joey had a lucky play, an unlucky play, a smart play, or a dumb play. For good measure, top decks were not counted as lucky since just about every duelist who wins a duel top decks into their win. Also, any smart play that was his only play was not counted because you don't get credit for making the only play available to you. What I then did was subtract the unlucky plays from lucky plays to arrive at his net luck score, subtract dumb plays from smart plays to arrive at his net smart score, then subtract his net luck score from his net smart score to arrive at his net skill score. For brevity, I won't go through each duel and instead opt to summarize the trend in each arc, but you can check out the spreadsheet in the description for a more detailed analysis. In Duelist Kingdom, Joey makes a lot of dumb plays and lucky plays, including winning his first 2 duels with Time Wizard, regularly being unaware of monster interactions like how flying monsters have an advantage over land monsters, or Battle Ox being resistant to fire, forgetting the cards he has out on his own field, and falling for bluffs. But as the tournament goes on, we see Joey make some heads up and some downright intelligent plays. At the start of their duel versus the Paradox Brothers, Heya is straight up afraid Joey's gonna screw things up. But when Joey makes the highly intelligent play of catching Wall Shadow with Kunai with Chain, even Tristan has to give it up for him that he's getting the hang of things. Joey also regularly learns to use his opponent's cards against them, like using Copycat and Grave Robber to steal the likes of Ryoku, Metal Morph, Polymerization, and Summon Skull. There is still an element of luck to his success, but we regularly see those chance effects that were once so reliable start to have less impact and even backfire, like Time Wizard versus Keith and Yugi. In fact, against Bones, he outright fails at Time Roulette, the only time he fails the entire series, and against Yugi's Magical Hats, he misfires 3 straight times with Black Skull Dragon. Joey's net skill score in Duelist Kingdom comes out to a -4 in the manga and -2 in the anime, meaning he's luckier than he is skilled. In Battle City, Joey still has a high volume of luck plays. His first duel alone versus Esperoba features 4 luck cards, prompting Rex to deem it a gamble deck, and he only wins that duel on the back of Roulette Spider. He also uses Skull and or Graceful Dice in every duel of the tournament except versus Odeon and in the manga versus Weevil. In this arc, there are no instances of unlucky plays for Joey, but he's also way down on dumb plays. In both continuities is him losing his patience versus Odeon and attacking into his back row, allowing Odeon to activate 3 Apopus. In the manga is an additional play where he tries using Chasm of Spikes on Flying Fish, which Mako berates him for by saying, "How can a flying monster fall into a pit?" Bear in mind that in the manga, the D&D elements of Duelist Kingdom duels did carry over somewhat to Battle City, which was far more cleaned up in the anime. But it is in Battle City where Joey ups his smart plays as well, such as realizing only flying monsters can attack over Umi, so fusing for Alligator Sword Dragon, who can fly over the water, and using Kunai with Chain to allow Panther Warrior to swing over the water. He also has a very heads-up play versus Merrick in using Graceful Dice to power up Merrick's Plasma Eel to cancel out machine duplication. There's also what I consider his 2 smartest plays of the tournament. Against Odeon, where he uses the Foolish Burial Grave Robber combo to bust out Jinzo and wipe out Odeon's traps, and the combo he pulls off versus Kaiba by stealing his enemy controller with Grave Robber so he can destroy Blue Eyes, then steal that with Monster Reborn. Joey's net skill score in Battle City comes out to a 3 in the manga and 0 in the anime, meaning he's more skilled than lucky in the manga and dead even in the anime. And even this doesn't paint the full picture because in the anime, 3 of those lucky plays come in his first duel with Espa, pushing his net skill score to 3 the rest of the way. This once again shows that as he continues to duel, he continues to learn and rely less on luck and more on skill. Both scores are an improvement on his scores from Duelist Kingdom, with the manga score improving a whopping 7 points. This exercise shows that not only was he using chance cards less, but he was also less prone to making bad plays and actually demonstrating high aptitude by making plays that outdid the likes of Weevil, Mako, Odeon, Merrick, and even Kaiba. And when he did use luck effects, his chances of resolving them in his favor dramatically improved from one arc to the next. Let's pull up back his list of luck instances. For this exercise, I ignored when his opponent used luck cards because that isn't indicative of Joey relying on luck. Now, let's look at Joey's average chance of success when he's the one who activates the chance effect. In the manga, his chance cards in Duelist Kingdom, All Time Wizard, are activated with a 33% chance of success. In Battle City, his chance cards are activated with a whopping 71% chance success rate. In the anime, his Duelist Kingdom chances are boosted since Time Wizard is a 50-50 card in the anime, but that still puts him at 50% on chance effects. When it comes to Battle City in the anime, he's up to 62%. So in both continuities, he's relying less on luck, with the manga especially demonstrating his growth. To put it another way, yes, his volume of luck plays is still there, but he's using those cards more intelligently. The final thing I'll point out is the quality of his luck. It's one thing for Joey to get a Graceful Dice on the second turn of the duel, it's entirely different when he pulls out a win with luck. Over the course of the anime, Joey wins 4 duels with a chance card. 2 of those take place in his very first 2 duels. It's the only way a guy who's still learning the game running a clearly inferior deck to other competitors, not even aware of all the rules and interactions, and outright forgets cards he has on the field, can defeat two would-be favorites of the tournament in Mai and Rex. The third time comes against Roba, meaning that in Joey's first 6 on-screen wins, 50% of them were on the back of a lucky play. For the rest of Joey's 8 on-screen wins, only 1 win, or 12.5%, come on the back of a lucky play, that being versus Valen. This trend further illustrates that as Joey improves as a duelist, he's winning more duels on skill, or at least a combination of skill and luck, rather than luck sacking outright. So why do people associate Joey with luck? There are 3 reasons: the volume reason, the psychological reason, and the anime versus manga reason. The obvious reason is the volume, and specifically the sheer number of chance-based cards we see Joey use. From Graceful and Skull Dice, to the most woefully designed but somehow never fails luck card in Star Blaster, Joey is constantly reminding us just how good his dice roll and coin flip are. If there's a duel in Duel Monsters that involves a chance card, chances are high that Joey is the one using it. But why does the very clear growth in his skill not resonate? Well, if you didn't like all the math in this video so far, then how about some psychology, and what is referred to as the serial position effect. This is a phenomenon in which people are more likely to remember the first thing and the last thing more than all the things in the middle. For example, remember all those random words I said at the beginning of the video? I promise I wasn't going crazy and it wasn't me forgetting to edit things out. Now's the time to realize the experiment. Which of those words do you recall? The serial position effect suggests that most people watching this video will remember the first and last words I said, potato and sofa, more likely than all the ones in the middle, phone, flower, knife, wind, happy, and door. But let me know in the comments how well that experiment panned out. If you're like me, you probably didn't remember any of the words. In addition to the heavy volume of luck cards as compared to his peers, I believe the serial position effect also plays a part in us ignoring or forgetting all of Joey's strides as a duelist, because those strides all take place in the middle. Even if you stop watching at Battle City, the last duel you saw of Joey is one where he plays Graceful Dice and Time Wizard, two very iconic Joey cards and very much chance cards. The Time Wizard pull is especially damning because it harkens back to the first 2 duels, and 5 out of 7, that we see from Joey to start the show, where he's seemingly playing Time Wizard in every duel and succeeding with it just about every time. But this too is an erroneous claim, because Time Wizard only pays off for Joey the first 2 times. The next 5 times he uses it doesn't pay off at all. The idea that it worked all the time is purely a result of the serial position effect, and specifically the primacy effect, which states that we are more likely to remember the first things presented. If we then dip into arcs like Virtual World and Waking the Dragons, we do see more of it. Joey plays 4 chance cards in 1 duel alone versus Johnson, even if Johnson cheats him out of 3 of those results. Waking the Dragons doesn't lean too heavily into chance cards, averaging 1.5 per duel, but it does feature the one that is Joey's biggest luck pull in the entire series, Take 1 Chance, with just a 6% chance of pulling Claw of Hermos from his grave of 18 cards to win him the duel. And then there's the KC Grand Prix. Joey throughout the show is involved in 40 luck-based effects, most of which are his cards, but 6 of which can be attributed to Yugi's Magical Hats and Grandpa's Legendary Gambler. Of those 40 moments, the KC Grand Prix features 14. 14! If that's not bad enough, he only duels twice, with each one involving 7 chance-based effects. More specifically, there are 6 dice rolls in each duel, and also 1 trap effect per duel where Joey has a 1 in 3 chance of succeeding, Ordeal the Traveler and Compensation Mediation respectively. Foiled to the primacy effect, and comprising the other half of the serial position effect in its entirety, is the recency effect, where we are more likely to remember the last thing presented. As proof, go no further back than Joey's very last turn on screen, where he plays a whopping 4 dice roll effects, getting a 6 on 2 of them to maximize the effects of maximum 6 and Roll of Fate, and the exact number he needs with the other 2, rolling 3 with Dangerous Machine type 6, which allows him to draw Roll of Fate, and rolling 5 with Star Blaster, which allows him to bust out Red Eyes from his hand. And as far as the last turn of his last duel goes, that too involves a chance card, Compensation Mediation, which is memorable for the fact that not only does his luck fail him, but it's only 1 of 11 times out of the 40 where his luck fails him, and only the second time overall where his luck failing him directly leads to him losing the duel. The only other time came in his second duel versus Mai in Waking the Dragons, where he needed a 3 or more with Skull Dice for Flame Swordsman to take down Harper Lady, but only got a 2. The failure of Compensation Mediation is our last impression of Joey. Our first impression is Time Roulette to defeat Mai. And because of the recency effect and the primacy effect, which make up the serial position effect, all that growth in the middle is easy to miss or straight up forget. The third reason why we remember Joey as a lucky duelist deserves its own section, and that is the difference between anime and manga continuities. A lot of comments in my Merrick is a better duelist than you think video said something along the lines of the anime and manga are different continuities, and so just because Merrick is decent in the manga doesn't excuse his poor play in the anime. And to this I say that, yes, they are different continuities, but that doesn't mean everything is different. Understanding why those differences in dual action occur matters. For example, if you believe that the anime writers changed the dual action for the primary purpose of making Merrick seem like a worse duelist, then in that case I would say that, yes, there is a difference in continuity. But I would also point out that it's not just the Merrick duels where that dual action differs, which causes players to make apparent misplays. Point being that changes to dual action are in large part not made for any narrative or characterization related reasons. Those changes are more often for the sake of prolonging duels, for dramatic purposes, or to align game rules and card effects more closely with the real life game. Thus, calling them different continuities based on changes in dual action is an erroneous assessment and distorts our understanding of the characters in both continuities. However, in this case with Joey, I do believe that the anime writers insisted upon Joey's luck pulls as part of his characterization. I say this with more confidence because there are too many instances of dialogue present in the anime and absent from the manga, where his friends and enemies alike constantly berate him for his reliance on luck.
You may depend on luck to win your duels.
It's gonna take more than dumb luck to win this duel.
So you're depending on Lady Luck to win this duel for you.
After all this time, you're still relying on luck to win your duels.
Now that's luck. Yeah, next time I play bingo, I'm bringing him.
そうね、城之内の場合、考えるだけ無駄かもね。
まるで運任せのギャンブルデッキやないか。
So it's clearly a point of emphasis on behalf of the anime writers. So if you want to say that, sure, manga Joey is not that luck reliant, but anime Joey sure is. I actually concede that point to you, but buffered the assessment with his chance of payoff from earlier in this video. What I'm trying to say is that difference between continuities should never have existed. I love the anime. I think the writers overall did a great job with the adaptation, and there are even a number of things I actually prefer about it over the manga. But in this specific case, I believe they held a poor understanding of Joey's character by constantly having him fall back on luck-based cards. If we pull back up his chart of chance to succeed and extend it to the filler arcs, Virtual World, Waking the Dragons, and KC Grand Prix, we find a very disappointing trend. Joey's chance of succeeding on luck effects that he activates improved from 50% to 62% from Duelist Kingdom to Battle City, but from there, it only drops and drops. His chance effects in Virtual World have a 54% rate of success, still a bit over 50-50, but a fallback from where he's at in Battle City. In Waking the Dragons, he falls dramatically, all the way to only having a 43% chance of success. Granted, this is significantly weighed down by Take One Chance, which again only had a 6% chance of success, but even if we take that anomaly out, that still leaves him at 50% chance of success on his luck effects, the same level he was at during Duelist Kingdom. If we then extend it to the KC Grand Prix, he falls to 44%. So at this point, he's not only playing effects that have a better chance of failing, but this rate is even lower than his rate back in Duelist Kingdom when luck was all he had. Along with our chance of success analysis, we can also continue the net skill score analysis for the filler arcs and find the same story. Virtual World is tricky to assess because while Joey does activate 4 luck-based cards versus Johnson, the first 3 do go in his favor, but Johnson cheats him out of the result. So while in my earlier analysis I counted these as part of the 29 instances where he succeeds, in this analysis I count them as unlucky plays given the ultimate result. As for the 4th arduous decision, that actually starts off working in Johnson's favor, but Joey uses mind games to convince Johnson to change his decision, so I actually count that as an unlucky play, then give him credit for a smart play. Joey then does have what I consider at this point a dumb play against the Big Five, in that he doesn't realize Injection Fairy Lily's effect only boosts its attack, which Yugi has to point out to him, which then prompts him to use block attack on it so Jinso can take it out. Joey's net skill score in Virtual World is the highest it's been at 4, but again, that's a tricky one to assess depending on how you classify those first 3 chance effects versus Johnson. For the final 2 arcs, Joey scored perfectly in that he didn't have a single dumb play. This is good because he's showing a stronger grasp of the game. Unfortunately, these arcs also see a dramatic drop in his smart plays, while still maintaining an elevated number of lucky plays. Right off the bat versus Mai, he lucks out on Compensation Mediation. He also uses Skull Dice to take out Harpy Spec Dragon, though this is one of those instances where he only needed a 2 or more. And then I score one more play in this duel as lucky for Joey, in that he had no idea what he was doing with Time Magic Hammer, saying so himself, "I don't know what this weapon can do, but I'm going for it." In his next duel versus Rex, Joey busts out a card that is a complete slap in the face to the idea that his luck effects are high yield. Star Blaster, which in both instances that he uses it in the anime, require him rolling the exact number he needs to bring out Red Eyes. And while his winning move with Swordmaster and Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword is a great combo, it's also the only move available to him, so it does not score as a smart play. Versus Valen, Joey hits a 4 on Roll of Fate, which allows him to draw 4 cards and combo into Lord of the Red. And then of course is the dreadful Take One Chance, where he succeeds despite 94% chance of failure. Not for not, Joey does have a few smart plays against Balin and in his second duel versus Mai, including a couple of combos involving Hermos and combining double magical armbind with Vow of Tribe to block Mai's Harpies from attacking, then using those 2 Harpies he takes as part of the 3 tributes for Guild for the Lightning to wipe out Mai's field. Joey's net skill score in Waking the Dragons comes out to a -2. In the KC Grand Prix, as mentioned previously, Joey's 2 duels are littered with dice rolls and chance cards. Joey does see his luck fail him a couple of times with Legendary Gambler and the final move versus Siegfried, but he also does have a couple of smart plays, like remembering which card Grandpa had in hand so he could call it correctly on Ordeal of a Traveler, and his nifty combo with Premature Burial and Giant Trune to win his duel versus Grandpa. Joey's net skill score in the KC Grand Prix comes out to a -2 as well. So if we tally things up by arc, we find that his net skill score in the anime starts off at -2, improves to 0, rises to 4, then dips back down to -2 and -2. That's not the trajectory you would expect from someone on his way to becoming 3rd best in the world. In the manga, Takahashi had Joey outright winning games on luck to start because at his skill level, a heavy dose of luck is the only realistic way he could defeat the formidable opponents at Duelist Kingdom. But Takahashi clearly made it a point to show Joey's growth from lucky to skilled. He cut down on dumb plays, increased his smart plays, and even when he did use luck cards, he had a significantly higher chance of success, and even to the extent that Joey used those luck cards in clever ways he never had before. Unfortunately, all of that is lost in the anime, especially in the latter 2 arcs. But while Waking the Dragon still has Joey showcasing his smarts, the KC Grand Prix is a total character assassination of our beloved underdog, making him seem completely reliant on luck the way he was the first time we saw him. Because of this, and in some twisted irony, Joey, who would otherwise be a demonstrably skilled player, is constantly ragged on by fans for being too luck reliant. So maybe he's not so lucky after all. Both the quantitative and qualitative analysis show that Joey is not as lucky as you think. His luck pays off for him at an average rate, and throughout the series, he demonstrates his growing skill by making less dumb plays, more smart plays, and using luck-based cards in situations where he's more likely to succeed than fail. But because of the heavy volume of luck effects he uses, because his first and last impression to the audience involve luck effects, and especially because the anime, both through its duel sequences and dialogue, portray Joey as reliant on luck, that's the reputation he comes away with. So what do you think? Is that reputation deserved, or is Joey more skilled than we give him credit for? Comment your thoughts below, and if I'm lucky, you'll subscribe to this channel and share this video with others. Or maybe I'm a 3rd-rate YouTuber and this was a 4th-rate video.